Hey guys and girls, my name's Alan, and in today's episode of News Drop, we're going to be talking about some more Uncharted 4 multiplayer. So a couple of days ago, Naughty Dog did a live stream on Twitch. It was about a 2-hour session, and they talked about various things to do with multiplayer, as well as showing us some features and gameplay and stuff like that. If you want to watch it as a whole, it is still on the Twitch Naughty Dog channel, so you can go and check it directly. I will link it in the description as well. But if you just want the summary version, that's what this video is going to be about. So as I said, it was about 2 hours long. I'm going to try and condense it into as few minutes as possible. So I'm going to talk quite quickly, and, just give you it in bullet point form. Okay, so let's get started. Oh, by the way, the video is just going to be me talking, by the way, so there's nothing going to be playing in the background. I mean, obviously you can admire Chloe if you want, there's nothing wrong with that, but I'm just going to be talking, so make sure you're listening. I've already done 2 other videos talking about Uncharted 4. One was covering the blog that Naughty Dog also posted with some different information about multiplayer, and then I also did another video about the game modes that are going to be available at launch. So if you want more information about those in detail, I suggest checking out those 2 videos, because as I said, a lot of information is covered in those, and there's a lot more detail in those videos, whereas in this one I'm sort of just going to skim if I've already talked about it before, if you follow what I'm saying. So at launch, there's a few things that aren't going to be included by default. So split screen, not going to be included at launch. They said they're trying to look into it, but because of technical difficulties and stuff like that, it's not easy for them to implement, which is why they haven't done it. So they might bring it back in the future, but the way they were talking about it, I wouldn't hold your breath. Game modes such as classic, like, so if you want like a classic version, like how we used to play Uncharted 2, it's going to be very difficult, because now that Uncharted 4 doesn't have the weapon drop system, as in when you get killed you don't drop anything, it's very difficult for them to place weapons, and also for players to drop weapons as well. It's a whole new system, so again, they said they're looking into it, but I wouldn't hold your breath. It's probably not coming back. I think they're planning on bringing back the lab at some point. That was just like an experimental game types, but obviously, given the game's just launching, I don't think it's going to be anytime soon, possibly in the next year or so, but maybe even after that, because obviously with Uncharted 3, we didn't have the lab until quite a while after launch, and same with Uncharted 2 as well, but that's not a problem, because as I said, the game's going to be new, so there's no point bringing out other stuff new as well. For the time being, trials are just going to be solo things. They're thinking about implementing maybe co-op features into that, closer to the launch of co-op, so it could work together sort of thing, but again, wait and see for that. There are no treasure sets at launch that featured in Uncharted 3, but because there's no drops in this game, like in terms of weapons and stuff, I don't know if that's the same technical drawbacks that they can't implement, or if it's just because it doesn't really fit with the theme, because obviously they've got other things going on in terms of treasures and unlocks and stuff like that. They mentioned a little bit more about ranked playlists, and then someone asked a question about whether there would be a playlist for people who just want to play solo and don't want to play against clans and stuff. So at the moment, there's no dedicated lone wolf playlist, so you're still going to run into parties and stuff, and if people don't play ranked and they prefer to play public games, be prepared to face, again, full parties of enemy players. So up your game, boys and girls, up your game. Speaking of ranked playlist, funnily enough, there's going to be no clan tags at launch. I don't really understand that one. I didn't think clan tags were difficult to implement, but apparently they are. So no clan tags. You can still party up, but you can't all show that you're all part of the same team. I don't know how you feel about that. I mean, it's a bit of a shame, because obviously I want to use it to show off that my affiliation with AcornVision, or my personal affiliation with myself, that sort of thing. But I guess it's not a big a deal. Cinema mode is on the way. Apparently, it's on the roadmap. Again, I discussed this in the other 2 videos, but it won't be there at launch. Hopefully, it'll be there soon, though. But then again, I record all my games live. I'm using my Elgato anyway, so it's not a big deal. Another thing to talk about in terms of ranked playlists is that someone mentioned there could potentially be tournaments in the future. That would be nice. I'd quite be interested to see how that works out, and I might even try and get into a team myself. Show if I'm capable of reaching the top. I've got a list in front of me, so I'm just going to go straight through the list. So we'll go from the top. So gun customization. There's going to be a lot more options for customization in terms of skins, mods. There's different types of mods now. I saw a silencer on the screen. I saw extended mags, fast mags, obviously just the usual stuff, but silencer's a new one. Skins, obviously there'll be loads of that. I'm not too surprised. They were in Uncharted 3. There's no doubt they were going to return in Uncharted 4. In terms of game modes, as I talked about these in the previous video, so I won't cover them again. There's lots more character customizations this time round, so there's obviously a lot more just clothing items and stuff like that. There's loads, and I imagine there'll be even more future DLC drops. No surprises there. Something new is that there will be preset outfits. So in previous games you had to dress up your character in a certain way, whereas this one you can, instead of picking out one or two items, you can just pick an outfit that the character's already got. And I saw a couple of them. As I said, I'm not that sort of person to dress up my character. I don't really care. It's all about how I play as a player. There's a lot more taunts as well. It goes in the same vein as customization, I suppose. Some of them are stupidly long, but again, I mentioned this during the beta. The control scheme of your controller, so you can sort of customize the button layout a little bit. Some of it's mostly preset, but you can sort of like switch certain buttons around. And also they mentioned that if you were still unhappy with how they were, you could always use the PS4 function to personally map what buttons you want to go where. And I don't think enough people know about this option, to be honest. The PS4 does have a button mapping option, so you can change triangle with X or whatever, and to really make it how you want it to be. But I guess it'd be a bit of a pain, because then when you finish playing Uncharted 4 you have to remap it for whatever other games you're playing. But options there if you want it. They mentioned tiny little bit about DLC and what might appear. Someone did mention Remastered Maps. They didn't confirm or deny, but you could sort of tell that they're going to bring maps back. There was sort of a hint in the person's eye who was talking. Guns have been sort of revalued from the beta to what is going to be in the final game. I think they were concerned that not enough people were using secondaries or something, so they've lowered the point value of some of those pistols. Weapons have a base value in terms of loadout points, and their mods, which also are separate to the weapons themselves, have also a base value. So say you've got a long rifle that's 5 points and you want to put on a silencer, it's probably an extra 3 points, so it's 8 points total just for that weapon, and so on and so forth. Hero weapons returned. That's like preset weapons in terms of attachments, so they're going to come back, no surprise there. And again, those will cost a little bit more because they've already got mods attached, so again, you just have to try and unlock those and see if you want to use them. These are non-customizable, and also heavy weapons can't be customized either. So whereas mysticals and sidekicks also have different mods which will alter the way they behave or improve the way that they behave, heavy weapons and hero weapons are preset, just like the preset outfits. They can't be changed. The more mods you attach to your mysticals and sidekicks, the more expensive it is to bring into your loadout in terms of loadout points, and also it costs more to buy during the game itself. And another change that they mentioned from the beta to the final game is that sidekicks no longer regenerate health. So in the beta, when your sidekick took a bit of damage but then was safe for like a couple of minutes, they would automatically start regenerating health. Whereas in this one now, they can still regen health, but you'd have to put on a mod, and if you put on a mod, obviously it costs more, and it's obviously a bit more expensive to upgrade as well. Goes without saying that boosters are returning in Uncharted 4 for multiplayer. Some have been tweaked a little bit since the beta, and there's obviously a lot more now in the final game than there were in the beta, so it'd be interesting to try those out. It's worth noting that there are literally probably hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of combinations of weapons and boosters and just the mysticals and psychics that you can put together. So it's really about finding how you want to play and just experimenting, really. That's something that they mentioned. A lot of familiar faces return in terms of characters. I saw quite a few faces. Obviously you see Chloe on the screen and she's returning, which I'm very happy about, but then again, she was in the reveal trailer, so it's not that surprising that she's come back. I imagine in the future DLC drops they'll be bringing back some other characters, some not quite so high profile ones. There will be no stealth melee kills in Uncharted 4 like there were in Uncharted 3. So in Uncharted 3, if you didn't know, you could sneak up behind someone and snap their neck, and that would count as a stealth melee kill. In this one, there's none of that. You can use your charge melee, or you just have to punch them normally. There's no stealth option. Medals do not return to Uncharted 4. So in Uncharted 3 you'd earn medals, and obviously you'd call in your medal kickbacks and stuff like that. So obviously the system's a little bit different now with the way that sidekicks and mystics work. But the reason why they said that they didn't bring out medals is because they were too distracting. I don't know if that's just an excuse or whatever, but it's fine. As I said, the system's changed now, so it's not too surprising that the medals have also gone. Leaderboards are coming back, and they're going to be a lot more detailed than what they were in Uncharted 3, which is a good thing. I did ask for that in the wish list. So the ranking up system in Uncharted 4 is slightly different to the previous Uncharted games. So in previous games you'd hit a certain level and then you'd be able to access a certain item, but you'd have to still buy it to get it unlocked. In this game it doesn't work like that. You don't get a rank per se, you'll just level up but there's no like prestige or anything like that as there were in Uncharted 3. Or in Uncharted 2 for that matter. So basically, if you want to unlock more of a certain item, let's say you've got the first assault rifle and you want to unlock the very last one in the long gun category, you basically just have to keep using your assault rifles until you unlock all the other assault rifles. That's how it works. So you get your first one, which is already unlocked by default. You have to keep using it to get more kills with it, and if you carry on using either that one or all the other assault rifles that you eventually unlock, you then work your way down to the final one. And same with pistols, same with mystics, same with sidekicks. So basically, if you want more of something, or if you want to reach a later version of something you've already got, you have to basically keep using that particular thing to unlock something further in that category. Leaderboards and scoreboards do return to Uncharted 4, and as I said with the leaderboards earlier, the scoreboard is a lot more detailed now in game, so you can see a better breakdown of how much you're contributing to the team in terms of objective score, whether you're attacking, whether you're defending, and also your kill death ratio. So you can sort of glean in terms of how much you've helped your team in terms of kills and objectives separately. And the way they award leader positions on the final scoreboard is also judged now solely by how much you've contributed to the game. So whether that means you've got a lot of kills, or if you've got a lot of objectives, or you defended a lot of objectives, that now counts rather than just how much cash you earn, which doesn't really give an accurate representation of how well you did in the game.